Welcome to 10 Songs, where each week we dive into the connections to the music that you love, from cover versions and little-known gems to those tracks you just skipped over. We'll show you the common thread across the music you love today and help you find a new favorite with just 10 songs.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter Rising, and it's great to be back with another episode of 10 Songs for You. My good friend Stephen Rose was flying solo on the last episode of 10 Songs, which hopefully you'll have checked out by now, where he covered Lou Reed, the wonderful and incomparable Lou Reed. I encourage you to go and check that out. Amazing episode. I certainly learned a lot about Lou Reed myself, which is the whole point of this podcast. We want to introduce you to new music, or old music that you may not have appreciated so much before. And that was certainly the case for me with Lou Reed. Not someone I'd really paid an awful lot of attention to beyond the obvious tracks, shall we say. So it's nice to drill down and learn a bit more about artists and bands that you've not come across before or not given any attention to. So Stephen's taking a break this week. You've got me in the hot seat for this episode, and I'm going to share with you 10 songs today, which are from artists who are from or in or around the northeast of England, which is where I live, specifically the city of Newcastle upon Tyne, which, although I've never actually lived physically in that city, I consider it my home. I always tell people I'm from Newcastle, even though I was born in a little town called South Shields and lived most of my life in Gateshead, which is just across the river from Newcastle upon Tyne. My football team is Newcastle United. I support them, which has not always been easy over the years, but times are hopefully changing a bit for the football club. It's a beautiful city. It's historically an industrial city, big ties to shipbuilding, and industry. Over the 90s, things changed, and it established its reputation as a party city worldwide. People will come all over the world, from all over the world, to have a night out in Newcastle. Very, very legendary for its nightlife and party scene. And the quayside on the River Tyne, which was very, very industrial, lots of warehouses and that sort of thing, transformed in the 90s to have them redeveloped as bars and clubs and restaurants and hotels. So the city has just transformed so much over the last few decades, and in the last 10 or 15 years, even more so, in that it's become a tourist attraction with art galleries and concert venues such as the Sage Gateshead, which is the other side of the river, the Baltic Flour Mill Art Gallery. Lots to do in Newcastle. So that's my tourist pitch. You may think this is just a music podcast, but I'm also selling my a bit of civic pride to you as well. My city, my Newcastle upon Tyne, which I love very, very dearly. So I'm going to talk to you about 10 artists or bands who have a connection or are from, in some way, shape, or form, the northeast of England, and where possible, Newcastle in particular. But I'm not going to stick too stringently to that, because I don't want to limit myself. So without any further ado, let's get cracking. Let's get into my list. And we're going to start with a young lad, a young Geordie lad, as we are known. We are the Geordies in Newcastle upon Tyne. And his name is Sam Fender. Very current artist. He's recently played at Glastonbury. He has a very, very rocky sound, and he's very, very influenced by American style rock. Those were his influences growing up. He has a very, very strong Geordie accent, as I say, and that sometimes comes across in his music. He sometimes sings with a very regional accent in his tracks. And the two albums that he's had to date, since he's been around, since I think he came on the scene around, excuse me, 2017, something like that. And he's had two albums so far. And the latest album is called 17 Going Under, and that's also the name of the first track that we're going to listen to. Superb track. I'm not going to try and do it justice in terms of explaining it the way Stephen can, because Stephen, this is why we balance each other very, very well on the shows that we do together. Stephen can speak very, very technically about the musicianship and the instruments and all that sort of thing. I'm more of an enthusiastic amateur. I just listen to the music and enjoy it. I focus a lot on the lyrics, and there are a lot of good lyrics in this song, which, as you listen along, you can tell that it tells a story, and a very personal story to this cracking young lad from Newcastle upon Tyne. So, without any further ado, let's take a listen. Let's listen to Sam Fender and 17 Going Under. Okay, that was Sam Fender and 17 Going Under. What a track! What a track! Encourage you to listen to both of his albums, as he is absolutely brilliant. Okay, next, number two. Number two on my list of 10 songs from artists from the northeast of England is somebody you will know by a very, very different name, but he was born Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner in 1951. He's an English musician, singer-songwriter, and actor. He was the frontman, songwriter, and bassist for a new wave rock band called The Police. So I'm sure you now know that I'm talking about the incomparable Sting. Unbelievable career that Sting has had, and so proud that he is from our region. It's looking at his stats on Wikipedia. It's hard to believe that he's 70 years old actually, but he's from Wallsend in England, which is north of of the River Tyne, part of Newcastle upon Tyne. Very famous area in terms of football. For example, the Wallsend Boys Club was a very famous football club where many of our great football players started out their early careers. So, how do you choose a song by Sting, though? There are so many good songs. It was very hard not to choose a song by The Police as well. When you think of all the songs that he did with his bandmates in The Police, from Every Breath You Take to Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. If you think of his solo career, so many Englishmen in New York. There's just so many to choose from. And multi-talented. I mean, the acting projects that he's done. He was in Quadrophenia, the mod movie from I think it was made in the 70s. Absolutely brilliant film where he was one of the mods on the scooters. And another great film that I like that he was in was based in Newcastle, which is called Stormy Monday, where he played a sort of Newcastle gangster nightclub owner. Very, very cool, very film noir. I watched it again recently for the first time in a while. Also starred Sean Bean and Melanie Griffiths and Tommy Lee Jones randomly as well. It was very, very strange to see Tommy Lee Jones walking around Newcastle. It's you just don't expect it. But anyhow, what is the song I've chosen for Sting? I've chosen a track called Shape of My Heart. It's a wonderful, wonderful track. It is from the album 10 Summoner's Tales. It's got a great video. The theme of the song, the story of the song, it talks about the deck of cards as a metaphor for life itself. I love the lyrics. And it starts off very, very beautifully. He deals the cards as a meditation. Listen to it. Listen to the story that Sting tells along the way. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And without further ado, let's have a listen to Sting, Shape of My Heart. Okay, that was Sting and Shape of My Heart. That was number two. Moving on to number three. Now, this one is a band rather than an artist, and it's actually an Australian rock band who I'm sure you're familiar with, called AC/DC. Now, one of the members of this band is Brian Francis Johnson, born October 1947, and he was born in Dunstan, Gateshead, which is just across the river Tyne from Newcastle upon Tyne. Another type of football, I'll probably drop a few of these references in. The England international footballer Paul Gascoigne is famously from Dunstan. And that was where Brian Johnson was born as well. And his genres of music: hard rock, rock and roll, blues, and glam rock, according to his Wikipedia page. what a source of information. But in 1980, after the death of Bon Scott, Brian became the third lead singer of AC/DC. And the song that I am going to choose is a bit of an obvious choice, really, but sometimes the obvious choices are just that because they're so good. And it's Back in Black from the album Back in Black. What a tune! Been used in movies, and very referenceable over pop culture in recent times, used in the Marvel movies to great effect with Robert Downey Jr. In Iron Man, and it's just a great track to put on and listen to in the car on a sunny day. Wind your windows down and turn the music up. So, without any further ado, let's take a listen to a brilliant track, Back in Black, AC/DC. Okay, next one is number 4. And we're moving along at pace here. Again, I'm going to be talking about a band here, but this is also an individual who has a very distinguished solo career. And his name is Brian Ferry. Born in September of 1945, he's an English singer and songwriter. And he was actually born in Washington, County Durham, England. Now, Washington might have been in County Durham once upon a time, but more recently it's in Tyne and Wear, which is a county in the northeast of England. So there's a wiki page that needs updating. But Brian Ferry, most famously, the lead singer from the amazing band Roxy Music. We very recently on the show had the privilege of speaking to Marco Peroni, songwriter from Adam and the Ants, amongst others, and he's a massive Roxy Music fan. And his favorite album of all time is For Your Pleasure by Roxy Music, which is from the early 70s. The genre of Roxy Music and Brian Ferry in particular is pop rock, glam rock, art rock, new wave, and sophisti-pop. Whatever is sophisti-pop? I'm going to have to look that one up. But Roxy Music, what a journey they went on, heavily influenced by his contemporary David Bowie, and as were many people of that time. And that album, For Your Pleasure, has a particular track on it which I have selected here today, and it is called In Every Dream Home a Heartache. It's a hard track to describe. Actually, it changes pace and tempo quite a bit throughout the track. It lends itself so well to again being presented in movies and popular culture. Most recently, appearing in a film by Guy Ritchie called The Gentleman, a gangster movie featuring Charlie Hunnam, funnily enough, who is from Newcastle. The actor Charlie Hunnam, famously from Sons of Anarchy, also stars Hugh Grant, and quite a good cast. I encourage you to check it out. I always have this habit of tying music into movies. That's one of my reference points. But and sometimes I will. It's a funny thing. I do start appreciating a tune sometimes more when I see it in a movie that I enjoy. And this can be a song that I've known of for years, but never really appreciated. But once you pair that tune with a movie or a TV show, and it sets the scene, it can really change your perspective on it. I find. I don't know if you find the same, but that certainly wasn't the case with this track. This is a track that I was extremely aware of and loved very much. It's a hard one to describe, so I would say let's go and listen to it. Let's take a listen to Roxy Music, In Every Dream Home a Heartache, from the album For Your Pleasure. So that was Roxy Music and For Your Pleasure, which was, where are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4. That was number 4 on our list of 10 songs from the northeast of England. So number 5, we are going to talk about somebody who, in this case, is a solo artist, although actually it's a duet in this case. But it's somebody who is more well known for being in a band again. Born in 1949 in August in the city of Glasgow, Scotland. But from the age of 7, he was raised in Blythe, in the northeast of England, near Newcastle. We are talking about Dire Straits legend Mark Knopfler, and it would be so easy again to pick any number of Dire Straits tracks, but I wanted to go for this one, this collaboration that he did with the amazing James Taylor from the album October Road. Quite a few years ago now. I'm trying to see when this was, but it was, I would say this is in the early 2000s. This album probably came out, and the track is Sailing to Philadelphia, and it's an amazing tune, an amazing collaboration between Mark Knopfler, who really leans into his Geordie accent on this song. I think he really leans into his Northeast heritage, and they're playing the characters of Jeremiah Dixon and Charlie Mason, and telling the story of the Mason-Dixon line, which you can look up and learn more about, and encourage you to do so. But such a relaxing tune, two amazing voices coming together on a collaboration. So this is Sailing to Philadelphia, James Taylor and Mark Knopfler. Okay, that was the halfway point. We're up to number 6 now, and the next person on my list is somebody I have admired much of my life. He's an actor and a singer. His full name is James Michael Aloysius Bradford, and he was born in March 1954. But if you know him, you will know him better as Jimmy Nail. So, English singer-songwriter, actor, film producer, television writer, and he was born in Newcastle upon Tyne. He was famously a welder in his younger years before he became an actor, and one of the first roles that he got, his big break, really was in a show called Auf Wiedersehen Pet, which was first screened in 1982, I believe it was. And the story revolves around a group of English workers who have to leave the UK to look for work elsewhere due to difficult times, due to unemployment in the UK. So these are what's the word I'm looking for? Tradesmen. They are bricklayers and plasterers and electricians and that sort of thing. So they go to Germany. They go to the city of Dusseldorf in Germany to find work on a building site, and there are about 7 of them. There are 3 Geordie lads who are effectively the main characters. They leave Newcastle and they drive over to Germany, to Dusseldorf, to this building site to find work as bricklayers. And Jimmy Nail is one of them, and he's accompanied by fellow Northeast actors Kevin Watley and Tim Healy, both of whom have stellar careers themselves. And I'm sure if you know of their work, you'll know that. But I encourage you to look them up. But the show also features other great English actors like Pat Roach, who plays the gentle giant Bummer. There is Moxie from Liverpool, played by very talented actor Christopher Fairbank. There's Barry from Birmingham, who is played again by the superbly talented what's his name? He's I can't believe I can't get it, but he's been in everything. He's been in Harry Potter. He's it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to come back to it because I'm going to get it without looking it up. Timothy Spall. I would have been so embarrassed if I didn't get that. And who have I forgotten? There was one more main cast member, Gary Holton, who played the London sort of cheeky chappy ladies' man called Wayne in the show. And he was, Gary Holton sadly passed away in 1985, drugs related, unfortunately, but he was super talented, a singer himself. And he had some roles in things like Quadrophenia as well, actually. So very, very sad. But Jimmy Nail is who we're talking about here, and he started his musical career in, I would say, probably the early '90s, maybe his late '80s, early '90s, and he had tracks like "Ain't No Doubt." He then went on to produce a TV show where he played a country musician trying to make it in the big time, called Crocodile Shoes. And he's had an amazing career. He's a mad Newcastle United fan. He's passionate about football, as many of us are from this neck of the woods. And this particular song that we're going to play of Jimmy's is a track called Big River, which it's a song of pride, civic pride. It's a song about the heritage of shipbuilding and the River Tyne and the industry. And listen to the lyrics. I'll not do it justice if I try and describe it, but let's just take a listen to Big River by Jimmy Nail from the album The Nail File. Okay, that was Jimmy Nail and Big River. What a track. So next one is number 8, and we're talking about a band this time who are called Lindisfarne, and they're an English folk rock band from Newcastle upon Tyne. They were established in 1968. They were originally called Brethren, and the original lineup comprised Alan Hull, Ray Jackson, Simon Cow, not Cowell, Cow, Rod Clements, and Ray Laidlaw. And they're best known for albums Nicely Out of Tune and Fog on the Tyne. Absolutely amazing folk band. And they are so synonymous with Newcastle, the northeast of England. And they were active for many years, from 1968 to 1975, and then reformed again 1978 to 2004, and then 2013 to present. The song that I am going to select from Lindisfarne, it would have been very easy to select many other tunes, including Fog on the Tyne, is All Mine, All Mine. If you know, you know. But the one I'm going to go for is a track called Meet Me on the Corner from the album Fog on the Tyne. This is a tune which, once you start singing it, it'll be in your head all day. And funnily enough, I was singing it randomly the other morning, and my mother-in-law was round at the house and she said, "Are you singing Lindisfarne?" I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Well, that'll be that in my head all day now." But there's worse tracks to have in your head. Such a great track. Hey, Mr. Dream Seller, where have you been? Well, I don't do it justice. Let's listen to the real thing. Meet Me on the Corner by Lindisfarne. Okay, then. That was Lindisfarne and Meet Me on the Corner. Moving on to number 8. We're really getting through this list now. And again, I'm going to be talking about a band here. And this band were formed in Newcastle in the early 1960s. And you will know of them as the Animals, a rhythm and blues and rock band formed in the early 1960s. So the band moved to London upon finding fame in 1964, and they were known for their gritty, bluesy sound and deep-voiced frontman Eric Burden, as exemplified by their signature song and transatlantic #1 hit single, "The House of the Rising Sun." They also had hits such as "We Gotta Get Out of This Place," "It's My Life," "Don't Bring Me Down," "I'm Crying," and "CC Rider." The Animals underwent numerous personnel changes in the mid-1960s. They suffered from poor business management, leading the original incarnation to split up in 1966. And Burden assembled a mostly new lineup of musicians under the name Eric Burden and the Animals. The much changed act moved to California and achieved commercial success as a psychedelic and hard rock band with hits such as San Franciscan Nights, When I Was Young, and Sky Pilot, before disbanding at the end of that decade. Although the group had 10 top 20 hits in both the UK singles chart and the US Billboard Hot 100. But there is only one track that I want to play from the Animals. It's the one that's the obvious one, and it's the obvious one because it's probably the best, undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best, and that is House of the Rising Sun. Again, featured in many a movie. It crops up in popular culture a great deal. The movie that I always connect it with is the mid-90s gangster movie Casino, starring Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone. That movie is full of such great tunes, absolutely brilliant soundtrack, and definitely one that I would encourage you to check out. Unpopular opinion, probably this, randomly, I actually think Casino is a better movie than Goodfellas, but I would think most people would disagree with me on that. But that's not to say I don't love Goodfellas, because I do. I absolutely love Goodfellas. But anyway, this is not 10 movies, this is 10 songs. But movies and songs, they just go together, don't they? As our American viewers might say, peanut butter and jelly, or peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump would say. But anyway, I digress. Without further ado, let's take a listen to There Is a House in New Orleans. It called the Rising Sun. Should I sing? Not sure if I should or not. This is The Animals and House of the Rising Sun. Amazing stuff. What a track, what a band from good old Newcastle. Okay, number 9. We are getting through this list. Number 9 is from an artist called Busker. And again, this is a very regional tune, very, very symbolic with synonymous with Newcastle upon Tyne, civic pride. And the artist is called Busker. The track is called Home Newcastle. I really love this track. And it was by a Geordie busker called Ronnie Lambert, who sadly passed away at the age of 58 in the year 2013. But he sang this track, Home Newcastle, which talks about similar to the story of the show Our Vidas in Pet, actually, where there wasn't much work in Newcastle over the years, and residents of the area would have to go elsewhere to be able to earn money. In this case, the song talks about moving to London. What I love about this track is that it is sung by Ronnie Lambert in marvelous Geordie brogue. The accent shines through in this song, and there's lots of references to the culture of Newcastle and what makes him yearn to be back in his wonderful hometown. And it's just so good. I love everything about it. It gives me a lump in my throat just thinking about it. And the chorus, just if you're from this area, if you love the city of Newcastle, you will just absolutely you'll have a tear in your eye. Coming home, Newcastle. Brilliant. But I can't do it justice. I really can't. Let's, without further ado, take a listen to Busker or Ronnie Lambert. And this track is from the, well, on Spotify, it's from the album Toon Army Tunes, which is obviously a compilation of songs related to Newcastle United Football Club. And that fits because whenever you go to watch Newcastle play at St James's Park in Newcastle, this is one of many tunes that will be played pre-match and post-match. And this is Busker and Home Newcastle. Brilliant. So we are on to the final track. This is number 10. And I was very, very conscious and a bit saddened that my list, as it was coming together, did not have any real strong female influences on the list. And that's not to say that we don't have great female representation in the northeast of England. um, for musicians and groups. We certainly do. I mean, the the girl group Girls Aloud, for example, one of their members is Cheryl Tweedy, as she was originally known. She just goes by Cheryl these days. The much married Cheryl, who's had a few surnames over the years, but is known only by her first name now. She's very proudly from Newcastle, and you can tell by her accent she has a very strong Geordie twang. Um, there are also Jade and Perry from the girl group Little Mix. They both hail from the town where I was born, South Shields. So they've made a good career for themselves. So um, these are not my type of groups, though. Unfortunately, these are, I can appreciate this that genre of music, but it's not something that I necessarily gravitate to. So what I guess I'm doing here is I'm giving those artists honorable mentions in my list because they've had stellar careers, they've had massive success, they've been great ambassadors for this region, and could not be more pleased and proud for them. And they've done extraordinarily well and have massive worldwide success and fan bases. But I did want to have at least one female artist on this list. And what I've actually discovered in looking for somebody who I would want to include on my list is an artist who is more local to where I'm living now, which is a little bit down the road from Newcastle. It's sort of 40 or so minutes drive down the A1 motorway, and I now live in Norton in Stockton-on-Tees, which is very, very close to a town called Middlesbrough. And this is a local artist, and her name is Samantha Dernan. And I found her initially on YouTube, and she's really starting to get quite a lot of recognition. If you look at interviews with Samantha online, she's she's doing the rounds and getting quite a name for herself. And she has a classic rock songwriting style, very, very similar to Stevie Nicks, I think. She's just so great to listen to, and I absolutely love all of the tracks that I've heard from her so far, and I just cannot wait to see how her career progresses, because I think she's absolutely fantastic. And this track that we're going to play for you here is from her album called I Found You, and it's actually the title track. The song is called I Found You. So let's take a listen to the wonderful Samantha Dernan and I Found You. Awesome stuff. Great track by Samantha Dernan. I Found You. Absolutely love it. That was number 10. It wouldn't be 10 songs, though, if we didn't have a bonus track. And for me, there was no other piece of music that I would consider signing out with for this particular list. We're going back to Mark Knopfler again, the Geordie legend Mark Knopfler. And this piece of music, it has no lyrics, it's instrumental only. And it's from a movie. A movie which I think it's probably fair to say the song has probably become more famous than the movie itself. The movie was based in Scotland, and Mark Knopfler wrote the soundtrack to this particular movie, and the movie is called Local Hero. But this particular track is called Going Home, the theme of the Local Hero, and it is just such an amazing track. It's something that, again, is synonymous with the Northeast and Newcastle in particular. It just makes you think of Newcastle. It's the song that Newcastle United run out to the pitch to when they come out and before playing their football games at St James's Park, and the emotion it exudes when that's played is absolutely phenomenal. The team run out to that It plays loudly. It ends so strongly with a, and after that last bit, the crowd just cheers like no other crowd you've ever heard. I'm probably very, very biased, but my own opinion is that there's no crowd like Newcastle United football supporters anywhere else in the world. There are great fans everywhere, but there's no crowd quite like St James's Park when it gets going. So what better way to end this episode of 10 Songs than with Going Home, the theme of Local Hero by Mark Knopfler. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let this one play us out. So I'll sign off and I will say thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me today. Stephen and I will be back together soon with another episode. We have lots planned for you. Hopefully we'll have some more guests coming up on the show as well. We really want to do that for you. Please do reach out to us. We're always eager to hear what you have to say about the show. We love feedback. We love ideas for shows that we could do. So you can find me at Peter at 10-songs.com. Our website is also 10-songs.com, and you can find us on Twitter at 10songs3. We are also on YouTube, but you'll just have to search for 10 Songs because we don't have enough followers on YouTube to get a custom URL yet. So if you can find us on YouTube, 10 Songs, please do give us a subscribe. That would be absolutely delightful for you. If you're here now watching on YouTube, please do so as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, I always forget to mention this. We obviously can't include the actual tracks in the YouTube version of this show because of copyright. We would get taken down if we try to play them. But the audio only version of this show goes out on Spotify. You can find us 10 Songs on Spotify, and their podcasting platform allows us to embed the tracks in the actual podcast. So we'll try and include all the links to the songs in this video here in some way, shape, or form, or at the very least give you the link to the playlist. But do check us out on Spotify as well. But if you're here on YouTube watching along, if you want to go and find the tracks, you'll have to hit the links and go find the playlist. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Take care of yourselves wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.